What, man?
Brilliant.
Would you want to respond to Jerry, Michael?
Put me in there, man. Listen, I don't throw it in there. Now, and what we have dealt with a lot of heavy criticism, and we're dealing with them in great times is one thing. Enduring them in low times is another. And right now, we are enduring them, and these are low times. So, listen, I understand, and Jerry, I think the world of Jerry. And I think Jerry's been so innovative in what he's done with the NFL and how he's raised the pot for everybody, with everything he's done. But, and that's why I thought this would be a moment that just like he looked into that crystal ball of his and sat down in that meeting room with me a long time ago, and we discussed getting Deion in, and he said, man, Michael, this is going to extend me. And I had just signed a contract. He says, this is going to extend and go beyond your deal if we do it. And I said, Jerry, we need to do it. Regardless to all of those circumstances, we needed to do it. We needed to do it then, and I think we needed to do it now. And that's just the reality. And absolutely, they heard me, because everything I talked about, I said it's more than just wins and championships, and all of that's important. But it's also about that moniker being snatched off the backs of the Dallas Cowboys. 40 years is a generation, and that whole generation has never heard anything about this greatness. When that is affected, all my hard work is affected also. All of my hard work is affected. So, yeah, I love Jerry, but he got it wrong this time, and that's the reality. And I'm not giving up my fight. You're going to ride by here again in another year or two if this thing don't work out again. And my song will still be singing like a young Diana Ross. Deion! All the way, I'm telling you.
Man, they dropped the ball again, huh?
We dropped the ball. Not again, but we dropped the ball this time.
This time?
Right. And I hope, but go ahead. Okay, so if the players can come together and say, we're going to show people, we're going to get together, we're going to show them that this is the right decision. There was a time when we got together and we got Barry. Barry came in. Nobody wanted Jimmy to go. That first year, as good of a team we had, it took us a whole year to really say, all right, let's stop thinking about what the coaches done. We don't give a darn about that. Let's go win now. Let's go win. And hopefully they'll have that kind of thing this year with Shotty, and some things that happen. Like I said before, I doubt it.
But again, I must say, the difference between this team and that first year with Barry Switzer, that team was a bunch of veterans on autopilot. It's a big difference than a team that has.
You still didn't get there.
And you still didn't get there.
So now you got a bunch of champions. No, not just a team, bunch of guys. A bunch of champions.
Yeah, a bunch of champions.
And they don't.
Yeah.
So
it's
that's
be
why
difficult.
my doubt is strong.
And that's okay for you to be feeling the way you are. I understand your pain. I mean, we all wanted Deion to get the job, especially when you floated everything out there and teased us about the phone conversation. So we automatically assume second interview at some point in time is coming.
Well,
and even to say that was just a phone call. Why you made us all? What?
Do all that to us, huh?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He did all that to us.
Right. Why you got?
Hey,
I was ready for some orange juice.
He tried to give hope to the hopeless.
But see, that's what, Paul. If he knew that was going to give hope, then why not follow through?
Right.
Snatch it back.
But even if you're not going to do
Paul, no, that's a great point. Paul knows there's a reason you put that out there. You knew the hope, and the people will start talking about it.
That's it. That's what he does.
And that was, if you knew that, you should have started.
But was there really ever truly a plan in place, like I said, day one, when he removed Mike McCarthy from the head coach position or didn't extend him? First thing I said is, I don't know if they really got a plan. Then the next thing you know, the Jerry phone conversation. So you said, Michael, they got a plan. I'm like, nah, I don't know if they got a plan. I don't know if they had a plan.
It doesn't appear that they did have a plan. But if you were going to take a swing, or at least put the conversation out there
about... They had a plan to get
about...
Mike McCarthy back, right?
Then close it.
Right. And
if that was a plan, you close that.
Right.
You don't let that out the door.
Or
out the building.
falls apart and you say, like I thought he would, let me go and do what I need to do now. Because maybe when God closed that door, he was opening another. And yes, it would have cost him some money on buying Deion out. And yes, it would have cost him some money on paying him more than he getting paid now. But yes, we were in that kind of a crisis. And that's why I went deeper down into the kind of crisis that we were in on the YouTube channel, because I had the time to do it. That's what I wanted them to see.
I mean,
I don't know if it's a drought.
That's it.
I don't know if we need these on it. 30.
people saying it's been 30 damn
30
years.
years counts.
It's the people say that's the problem. I don't mind the quotes. Everybody like to throw that stuff up, but it ain't what people say. It's what the reality is.
Yeah, they're going to quotes. I think it qualifies as a drought across the board.
Right. It's a drought.
Are the Cowboys closer? Not your Cowboys. Are the Cowboys closer to ending their drought?
I mean, they haven't done anything significant over this past year for me to think so. I mean, I think they're closer to the back of the line than the front of the line. I mean, when you got young teams like Washington and Philly who are getting better, we're not even talking about the NFC. We're talking about just in the division. You know, let's not even think about the NFC when you might not even make it out this division. And I thought this was a great opportunity, like we all talked about all year long. All the way through the year, you had an opportunity to get Deion. You had so many opportunities. And this goes back to last year, you know, just some of the things, it just doesn't seem right with the Cowboys and the way business was done. It started in the summer. And I go back to, like, waiting till the last day to pay Dak, you know, fiddling around with CD and things of that nature, saying we're going all in and not really going all in. And you had a chance to probably get Derrick Henry. Who knows? He lives in Texas, lives in Dallas, right? He was out there. Could have got him. So it's just all these things that accumulate to where it's like, why would I think they're closer to being closer to an NFL Super Bowl, let alone an NFC title?
No.
Your Cowboys closer, Key?
No, I want them to stop doing this to my good friend Michael Irvin, though. How long have you been retired now?
I retired in 2000. What's 25 years?
So, essentially, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Right.
It was pretty much over with. So he's been probably, I would say, feeling this way for at least 22 years, where it's just eating him slowly. All of his organs are just twisting and turning every year that we go through this, and they're not even close.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand Stephen is saying drought. Yes, it's been 30 years, man. It's beyond a drought. It's just dry. It ain't nothing there. Nothing at all. And you then go out and you hire, I don't even know what you would call him, the 8th choice, 9th choice, 10th choice. I don't know, maybe it was the number 1 choice all along. Maybe he was pump faking the entire time, and that's what they wanted to do was hire Shoddy. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know, but it's certainly, this isn't getting them closer to any NFC championship game, let alone the division. Let's just start there.
Yeah.
Damn the championship
That's what I'm saying,
game.
the division.
The division.
I think this will end up being a regrettable hire. Right. I don't think he makes them better.
It's so behind the 8 ball.
I don't think they have a good roster as is. Whatever momentum or progress McCarthy made with Dak, I think will regress next year. The division is much harder than it was before. The NFC Championship game was comprised of 2 teams that were in your division. Obviously, one of them is now in the Super Bowl and has an opportunity to become Super Bowl champions in your division. You're not getting better. So as it stands right now, today, obviously pre-draft, pre-free agency, but we know they don't do much in free agency anyway, they are going to be fighting for 3rd in their division with the Giants, assuming that the Giants are going to continue with their own level of dysfunction.
Right.
Is that going to be good enough to get you in the playoffs? It could be very soon that you're missing those McCarthy 12-win seasons right around the corner. You already missed the playoffs this year, so if you miss the playoffs again next year, that's back-to-back seasons.
But even if they got in the playoffs, Joy, they're going to be a wild card.
Right.
Because they're not going to win the division, or they're not going to finish second in the division, so they're going to be like the 7th seed or something.
Hence
I'm saying it's not over yet. Now, even if you get in and you still get that swift exit, we're still right in the same place.
Still on the treadmill.
We're still in the same place. So if you guys can get them fired up, go and find you a running back or draft you another young wide receiver and explode offensively. You're not going to get by that first round. And it's going to send you right back into the
I don't ever remember Schottenheimer ever having an explosive offense any of the places that he called plays.
I don't see no direction.
But he's been a part of the Cowboys' explosive offense.
Yeah. And guess who was calling it?
Correct.
Mike McCarthy.
That's what I'm saying.
He ain't calling it.
We're on the same team.
You might have to trade some stars. You're about to trade some stars.
Yeah. I'm worried about him trading them.
Why get stuck in mediocre? How about just start over?
I mean, they may have to. They haven't appeared in the NFC Championship game since 1995. That's the longest active drought in the NFC. But going back and looking over the hires since Jimmy left, Barry, Chan Gailey, Dave Campo, Jason Garrett were all not head coaches before when they were hired with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, again, other than Barry, they participated in that drought since the 95 season.
Correct.
So this is kind of outside of the Bill Parcells hire, and I would say the Mike McCarthy hire are kind of similar to me in that he hired established coaches with their own voice, their own brand, their own resume when they came there. Wade Phillips to some degree as well. So this is actually, again, par for the course for what Jerry does. But what makes it feel bigger and more disappointing is that we had the conversation about Deion Sanders in earnest, and you're peaking around 30 years of not being able to get to championship weekend, let alone the Super Bowl. It feels very heavy. That 30-year thing is getting heavier by the year, like a bigger boulder to overcome.
And we placed the crown on Jerry of being a master manipulator, or whatever you guys want to call it, with the media and keeping the Dallas Cowboys out front. So now, if that's within your blood, that's great here, because now you should be able to see the value of a Deion beyond even the championships, because he is so entwined with social media in the now generation. You know, I never understood why people got so caught. Michael, why would you let other people wear the number 88? Do you not understand? Okay, if I had stopped wearing it, Drew had it, and I had it, and Dez don't get it. Now, the generation during Dez's time who fall in love with Dez, now they're forced to go look back up the history. Okay, now the generation who falls in love with CD, you're forced to go look back up the history. When you stop that, no one's forced to go look back up the history, then this thing dwindles and fades away. And right now, if you're not giving championships to that fan base and that third group of fan base that's coming through, that Cowboy brand dwindles and fades away. And that's why I'm calling an emergency to the situation.
Well, because you can only live off of history for so long, people forget it. And when you're not reminding them of the greatness of the situation because you aren't great, then there's nothing to reinforce that tradition or history. Should Michael wish that Mike McCarthy was still the head coach, though, Paul?
I mean, that would have been the best option when you look at all that they've endured over this last few days and weeks and all of that. I mean, you could have just paid Mike for a couple more years, but maybe that's not what Mike wanted. You know, and I'm sure they had their conversations. But, like, when you look back, I mean, I was an advocate for Mike. I thought, the players wanted him. Dak, he was CD. They were all pulling for Mike. They all liked Mike. They all had their best years under Mike McCarthy. And, got them all paid. Business. It's like business is going up, but the prices is going down right now. They're going to have to do some more tours. They're going to have to get more tours in the building. They got to get some, because ain't no excitement there now. It's like when you brought in Deion, it would have been ticket sales. You would have sold out ticket sales for practice already.
Now you're going to have to sell the actual product.
Yeah.
I'm always worried when the players are lascivious with their behavior, just throwing their love everywhere like this, on this assistant coach and that assistant coach. Maybe that's exactly who we should hire, because they love them too much. That means they don't scare them enough. Right. They're not scared of them enough.
They're comfortable around them.
Right, and we got to be careful, because football is not about comfort.
Right.
Football is actually about the opposite, being uncomfortable. And if you can make the comfortable, you make the uncomfortable comfortable, then you win games like Kansas City. They make the uncomfortable comfortable. We be like, well, they did it again. But this is what they're used to. And comfort is the problem. And those players keep picking the guys that they are comfortable with.
Yeah, Mike, though, should be begging for Mike McCarthy to walk back through that door.
No, I should not.
No, you should.
That's more comfort.
No.
Where am I
the reason you should is because the man won 12 games a year, and I understand he didn't get to the ultimate goal and place where you want to, but you just basically just hired a body, essentially.
No, I know,
but you couldn't get Deion, and you couldn't get Vrabel, and there was no Belichick, and there was no Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn.
So take 3-4 more years of what I had.
He might not even take 2 or 3. You might not. It may be 2. It may be 2.
But all
maybe
of
2.
you guys who said he can't do it, now you're telling me he can do it.
I never thought they should have fired Mike McCarthy.
Based on Schottenheimer,
all I'm saying
ain't no way in the hell I'm getting rid of Mike McCarthy to hire Brian Schottenheimer. I'm just not doing it.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm not doing that.
What I'm saying is my role here, my time with this has played out. And I know what I've gotten over the last 4 years. That's enough of a sample here. Schottenheimer, though this is not where I wanted to go, may surprise me.
Okay.
But I was already abreast of what's going to happen here.
Okay.
And that wasn't.
Do you think he's going to surprise you?
No,
Do you think
I
he's going to
already
surprise
said I doubt that'll happen, but it's still a different direction than the whole I was.
It really isn't a different direction. Because if I'm running with you,
I'm with you.
I'm probably going to be like you.
Birds of a feather, I'm with you.
Michael,
if I'm running with you, I'm probably going to be like you.
But I got to have hope somewhere that somebody says.
If I'm sitting in the meeting room every day with you, Paul, I'm probably going to
pick up on some of the things that you're doing.
Oh, man, for sure.
These players are ready to back him
Same
up.
system.
And I'm talking about Shotty here. You're putting this man, you're pointing him and pointing him out. I hope you're ready for everything that comes now, because he's never been in a situation like this. Every day he opens up that paper, somebody's going to be talking about him. Every day his kids go to school, somebody's going to be saying something.
Yeah.
I always say top 33 jobs, the most pressure jobs. Number 1 is POTUS. From 2 to 33 NFL head coaches. And you put the Dallas Cowboys head coaching job up in there. It's in the top 5. Pressure, here you come. How you perform up under it, we're about to find out. And then he's going to need those players that appointed and anointed him that job to back him up. I guarantee it.
No choice.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.